Back in the grindhouse days, sometimes things got nasty. The Ilsas and the Olgas and the Finlays, sleazy stuff. But all of these films had a kind of campiness that ran through them and kept them light and fun. There were, of course, other films at the time that brought the sleaze but didn't bring the camp. Are those still fun? Let's take a look at one and find out. Welcome to Sexploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at The Sinful Dwarf from 1973. This film is kind of infamous in the exploitation circles, as some people really love it, and some people really hate it, but all of us remember watching it, so that's saying something. This movie has been released under a few different titles and a few different versions. The version that I have is just called The Dwarf, but I think it's normally known as The Sinful Dwarf, at least in the English-speaking world. In the original Danish, it's called, however you pronounce this word.
Dværgen.
Really? That's how you pronounce that word? Alright, I guess English isn't the only language that has trouble spelling the sound Austrian farmers make when they orgasm.
Dværgen.
There are also a few cuts of the film running around. There's the standard R-rated cut, and there's one unrated cut that has some hardcore scenes inserted into it. This is kind of common back in the grindhouse days. Thriller, A Cruel Picture did the same thing. Here, though, the hardcore scenes look completely different from the rest of the movie, so their insertion is rather jarring.
Dværgen.
But what's interesting is the hardcore scenes do seem to use the same actors. That's kind of interesting. In Thriller, A Cruel Picture, that was clearly not the case. Alright, enough beating around the bush. Let's get to this thing. We open on a cute girl who wants to play with a dwarf's dog. That's not a euphemism. That's what's happening on the screen. This girl is really quite enraptured by this toy dog, and Olaf says he has more toys back at his place, so she follows him. With the way this girl acts, I'm not sure if she's supposed to be a kid or just retarded. Doesn't matter. Either way, she's a sex slave now, baby. After the main titles, we meet Peter and Mary, our main characters. They're a bit down on their luck. Peter can't find a job.
Why? What business are you in?
I'm a writer.
Oh, that explains the troubles. You know, when I was a little kid living in Ohio, I dreamed about leaving that place and moving to Europe and becoming a writer. And after I finished school, that's exactly what I did, which just goes to show you, kids are really stupid and they have stupid dreams. Anyway, all Peter and Mary can afford is a room at his really cheap and run-down boarding house, Olaf's boarding house. At first, Olaf's mom isn't interested in renting them a room, but one look at Mary and she changes her mind.
Yes?
We saw your sign. Do you have a room?
No.
You don't know where we can find one, do you?
I do have one room.
That's not suspicious at all. That night, Peter and Mary christen their room, and this should have been a great scene, but the lighting is terrible. Who f***s with the lights off? Romantics, probably.
Dværgen. Dværgen.
Olaf watches from the hallway and seems to enjoy the show. I guess dwarfs really can see in the dark. The next day, Peter goes out to look for a job and Mary stays behind. I'm not sure why Mary doesn't also try to find a job. She definitely has some nice qualifications. But no, she explores the house, and we learn more about what goes on in this house, and it's pretty much what we gathered from the beginning. Olaf and his mom run a white slavery ring. Men come over, and they have their pick of the litter, and then they ring a little bell when they're finished. If you have the hardcore cut of the film, these scenes will include a little extra footage. Well, really inchage, but you know what I mean. And this is how the movie will go. Peter will go out during the day, Mary will stay behind and do a little snooping. Eventually she will be caught and added to the menagerie. Olaf and his mother will type up a letter trying to trick Peter into thinking that Mary left him, but that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. Well, Olaf is a great dwarf. I know he didn't have a lot of choice in some aspects of his character, but he did have a choice in other aspects of the character, and that's what I'm talking about. From his maniacal little facial expressions, to his bizarre and creepy line delivery, to his scheming little Vienna sausage fingers, he's a memorable character. The film also has a pretty good look to it. The location is great. This run-down, dusty, and dirty boarding house place. Yeah, what a perfect place for a little dungeon activity. And finally, Anne Sparrow. Wow, what a hottie. I mean, she can't act, but she does bring a significant amount of plots to the movie. Nice job, Anne. I wish you had been in more movies. But the movie isn't perfect. It's the Sinful Dwarf. Of course, it has some shortcomings. Well, you might be surprised to hear this, but I don't like it when exploitation films add hardcore inserts to the movie. These inserts are pointless and distract from the film. Here, partly because of the much different look, but also because they don't fit with the characters in the movie. I mean, in one of these scenes, one of the patrons has some number action with one of the slaves. Like, nobody is going downtown on a slave. Oh, Rob, why not? Slaves deserve oral love too. They're people. Yeah, they're people, but so are plumbers, and I'm not gonna unclog their sinks. If you insist on adding hardcore inserts to your movie, make sure they fit the characters in the movie. That's all I'm saying. These are drugged up slaves. They're not gonna f*** you back. You can beat them, you can chain them up, you can bend them over things, but they're not gonna f*** you back. But here they do, which means the movie has broken the movie magic by having characters do things out of character. Anyway, that's way more than enough on that topic. What else is going wrong here? Well, this movie is boring and I don't really like it. I mean, the movie is deliberately slow-paced at times, and I didn't even mention the times where the mom starts singing. Wow, that was torturous. Far more torturous than the lame-ass torture scenes in this movie. And it's not that I don't like movies like this. I like movies like this, I just don't like this. Blood-Sucking Freaks, for example, does everything that this movie does, but does it with a fun, campy tone that makes the whole thing enjoyable all the way through. So if you want to watch a fun white slavery movie that has torture and some gore and some hot women and a dwarf, watch Blood-Sucking Freaks. The Sinful Dwarf is...
Dværgen.